this probably isn't what you just want to hear, but the main emotion I felt on reading the book and her interviews was pity. Most of us have our tattoo, confused sexuality, crying every 5 minutes phase before we hit our 20s. But it seems that Nicola's kind of hit that phase now. And it's tragic, really, that a woman that age is clearly having a bit of a nightmare personally. So I think rather than, there's a lot in the book that's revelatory, there's a lot in the book that's interesting. I think my overriding feeling is that she really is in a bit of a mess, and it's kind of a shame. However, my sympathy only extends so far because she's still getting it so tragically wrong on the trans issue. It's almost laughable. She says that some men shouldn't be allowed to be trans.
Forfeit the right.
Whereas previously she said all trans women are women and anyone who disagrees with that is a racist or akin to a racist. And now she's kind of adopted a similar position herself. It all just seems like a bit of a mess, and I think she seems like a bit of a mess. And I think the book is just a bit of a, as we predicted last week, and we feared it might be, it's just a massive, big 400 pages of what a great person I am and what an idiot everyone else is.
Isn't that what we expect from celeb memoirs, though? There has to
I
be
would have hoped for
personal.
I would have hoped for just a smidgen of self-awareness on how she threw women under the bus, on how she screwed up any hopes we ever had of being an independent country, if that's the way your politics are. And she basically achieved very little as First Minister. A wee bit of self-awareness on that would have been welcome. Didn't see any of it, really. But as I say, having seen the interview on the ITV, you would have to be a heartless person not to feel sorry for her. She did a great job for Scotland during the COVID lockdown. I think she led the country through a terrible period, one of the most significant crises we've had since the Second World War. She led the country well through that. It clearly affected her deeply. I think I would have liked, though, to have seen a bit more contrition about the things that she didn't do right.
Okay, so that's two quite negative reviews. John, how are you feeling after reading the book?
Yeah, I mean, I think for anyone who's not read the book, we can save them a lot of time here. Alex Salmond was the baddie, I was the goodie, everything I did was right, and still a bit confused about what a woman is. It'd be a reasonable summation. I think the thing about this book is that in general, a book comes out and then they make a film of it, and people say, well, the book was better. And in this case, we've kind of already watched the Nicola Sturgeon show live on TV over the last 10 years. And now she's written a book where she doesn't really reveal anything new. And so, it kind of feels like it was better on telly. I just don't really think there's much in the way of introspection in this book, and that's where it falls down. I think you're right. Like this, I thought that it was fascinating, this thing where she's, starting to try to, like she says, I felt worried that I couldn't go on live TV and just say, yes, I think Isla Bryson's a woman, because that would have been consistent. And, perhaps if you find yourself in that position, then you should reflect that maybe your initial logic was wrong. But rather than do that, she still seems even now to be kind of looking for a loophole and saying, we could exclude people that are double rapists, maybe single rapists should be allowed, maybe, this is absolute intellectually vacuous nonsense. And she still doesn't seem to have got a handle on that.
Probably rapists shouldn't be allowed to change gender after conviction.
Yeah, so it's absolute nonsense, and it belies a complete confusion and an inability to really reflect and accept when you've made a big mistake and you need to completely change course. But of course, that's one of the things that politicians unfortunately struggle with. They tend to be good at using a lot of words to say not very much at all, and that's kind of feels like that's what this book is.